Chicago. This is Chicago Cubs baseball on ABC 7.
From Wrigley Field on a hot July Saturday afternoon, and it's Jorge Soler bobblehead day as the Cubs host the Philadelphia Phillies. It's the middle game of a three-game weekend set. The Cubs and the Phillies here on ABC 7. And great to have you with us alongside Jim DeShays. I'm Len Casper. The Phillies came back late and won in 10 innings yesterday. Let's get right into the Cadillac pitching matchup. You have a left-hander for the Phillies who may be making his last start with his club, and you have a right-hander for the Cubs who's been as good as anybody in baseball.
Trade talk swirling around Cole Hamels. He was going along nicely, but his last two starts really imploded. Did not make it out of the fourth inning in either one of those two starts. We'll see what he brings to the table here today. Jake Arrieta, nobody's been better than Arrieta over the last month or so. Last six starts, 5-0 with a 0.96 ERA.
Cubs need to get it going against teams that are under 500. 4-4 so far coming out of the All-Star break. Good pitching matchup. Hamels and Arrieta coming up from Wrigley Field. ABC 7 is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, located on the web at MBUSA.com. By DeVry University, different on purpose. By American Family Insurance, insure carefully, dream fearlessly. By Dodge, born Dodge. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at Southwest.com. And this HD broadcast is brought to you by Xfinity. Xfinity, your home for the most live sports.
Well, let's take a look at our Mercedes keys to the game. Running is an option, even though Cole Hamels is left-handed. Base stealers have been successful running against him. And Chucho Ruiz, a veteran catcher, has had a heck of a time throwing out base stealers, so maybe the Cubs will take advantage of that situation. There'll be 7 men in the Philly lineup here today, swinging from the left side of the plate, and Arrieta has absolutely owned left-handed hitters. They're hitting just 195 against him with 2 home runs.
Now the Phillies lineup brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Cesar Hernandez, switch-hitting second baseman, will lead it off. Odubel Herrera is in center. Maikel Franco's had a really nice rookie campaign. Ryan Howard, Carlos Ruiz were not in the lineup yesterday, but they got into the game late. Cody Ashe had a huge day, and he's in left. Freddie Galvis, the shortstop. Dominic Brown playing right field, and Cole Hamels, the pitcher, batting ninth.
Check in with the Cubs defensively. It's brought to you by Toyota. Chris Benorfia gets a start in left field this afternoon. Fowler in center. Jorge Soler in right. Russell and Rizzo on the right side of the infield. Castro and Bryant short in third. David Ross back in there behind the plate. For the big righty, Jake Arrieta. Having a very nice year. A career high now with 11 wins. 11-5 with a 2.52 ERA. He's making his 20 to start. You see how difficult he's been to hit. The league batting just .211. We highlighted the fact that he owns left-handed hitters. Righties don't have a whole lot of success against him either. A bunch of strikeouts, not many walks. It all adds up to one of the elite pitchers in the National League.
First pitch weather for today brought to you by Four Seasons Heating and Air Conditioning. For all the right reasons, call 866-4 Seasons. So it's hot, but right now we've got a north wind. How about that?
Didn't see that coming.
Bill Cuzzy, the home plate umpire. Crew chief Jerry Davis at first. Will Little is at second. And Chicago native Tony Randazzo over at third. I guess we can ask Jerry Taft about what's up with the weather.
Prevailing winds.
He'll join us in the fifth.
When they turn and why they turn. Well, much like the wind, yesterday's game took an unfavorable turn for the Cubs late. Talked about it all afternoon yesterday, how it's such a favorable matchup, but we still have to play the games, and the Phillies stole one here yesterday afternoon.
They did. 5-3 and 10, and we are underway in game two. Fastball strike.
And nice when you get kicked in the teeth the way the Cubs did yesterday. You can hand the ball to a guy like Jake Arrieta today.
Bounding ball to the shortstop Castro. Close, really close. Hernandez pointing in his dugout. Pete McCannon may want to take a look. For now, he's out.
Wow, he can really scoot. I think they got him.
They did.
That's an early warning for everybody on that Cubs infield. We really got to go with Hernandez going down the line. No wasted motion. Switch hitter, obviously a little bit of an advantage from the left side.
Now Odubel Herrera, Rule 5 pick from Texas in December, and he swings and misses. He's been hot. Last 19 games hitting over .390. The Texas League and the Venezuelan Winter League in hitting last year, .321 and .372 respectively. 2 strikes.
Arrieta, when you look at the numbers, if you're Pete McCannon, filling out the lineup card today, you might have been tempted to sit a couple of your left-handed bats. It's counterintuitive because you see a power righty out there and you think, well, we got to load up with lefties. But the numbers suggest otherwise. He's got so many good weapons. And against left-handed hitters, he likes to bury that cutter down and in under their hands. So throw the changeup away. He'll backdoor the curveball. And oh, by the way, he's got a 97-mile-an-hour heater.
Time called. So this might be filed under the it's not who you play, it's when you play them category. The Phillies have the worst record by far in baseball, but they're 6-1 since the All-Star break, including that win yesterday. Outside on a curveball, 2-2.
Yeah, and yesterday's game felt like the matchup was so favorable. With Cole Hamels going today, even though he has struggled lately, he's certainly capable of dialing up a dominant game. And they got the kid Nola going tomorrow, their top pitching prospect, and he was good in his debut. Fightins swinging it a little better, averaging 4.5 runs per game. Bullpen's been pretty good for them all year long. But that and the bench. two phases of the game where they've been at least average, if not a little better.
We'll redo a 3-2.
Overall, offensively, it's been a real tough go. Starting pitching has really struggled.
Well, Jeff Francoeur with the game-winning homer. Quote after the game: "Ruin other teams at this point. That's why you want to play." John Lester said you have to have that invisible opponent mentality where they are in the standings. That was an awkward swing. 97 for strike three.
Well, you start leaning, you start thinking off speed, and he throws that fastball in. If he hits a spot, pretty much no chance.
Wow. So 2 outs. And it's Maikel Franco. 0 for 5 yesterday, but the defensive play of the game. Kind of forgotten in the Phillies comeback in the 9th, and then the Francoeur homer in the 10th was his 8th inning barehanded play to get David Ross. That would have plated the Cubs insurance run they were trying to get. Swing and a miss on a slider.
Yeah, we're talking about all the Phillies' shortcomings. They've struggled defensively this year too, but yesterday they were very tight. That was a highlight play by Franco. They made a couple very nice plays. Hernandez at second base, Galvis the shortstop.
Deep to center, and Fowler's going to have to chase it down. Franco's got a 2-out double. Ball was smoked.
Good looking young player.
There's Ryan Howard. 0 for 2 yesterday. 35 years old. Contract runs through next season. Lots of homers, strikeouts, and walks in his career. He's one of those 3 true outcome guys.
Walks are way down this year. I think it's fairly typical what happens to an aging player. Bat speed not quite there, so you have to cheat a little bit to catch up to a good fastball. You end up chasing pitches out of the zone more frequently. Not hitting for average and not taking walks, so not having a real good year, but still dangerous.
His career walk rate over 11%, well above average, but you're right. About 4.5% this year. That's way below average. Two balls, no strikes. Ground ball to Russell to end the inning. 2-out double, no runs. Cubs coming up when we come back. brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Let's quickly get into the Cubs Southwest starting lineup. Fowler, Bryant, Rizzo at the top, Soler, Denorfia, and Castro in the middle. Ross, Arrieta the pitcher, and Russell 7 through 9 is veteran left-hander Cole Hamels, 31 years old, ready to work. And ball one upstairs on Fowler.
Colbert Michael Hamels upstairs with a couple of fastballs, and that's been part of the story for him his last couple of starts, of making mistakes out of the zone and up in the zone. 5-7 with a 3.91 ERA now through 19 starts.
His ERA has gone from 3.02 to 3.91 after two pretty disastrous starts.
Yeah, so you see those numbers and you would think, well, Hamels isn't the guy he normally is, and really it's kind of an aberration. Two very ugly starts. For the most part, he's been rock solid again this year.
Working quickly. Ball four.
Check on the Phillies defensively. It's brought to you by Nissan. Only the Brewers have made more errors in the National League than the Phils. Ashley, Herrera, Brown, left, center, and right. We talked about the infielders and their good play yesterday. It's Franco Galvis, Hernandez, and Howard, and Carlos Ruiz, the veteran, is behind the plate for Hamels.
Good start. Fowler reaching on the leadoff walk. And here's Bryant. Homered yesterday, and he drives one to very deep left center, but it's going to stay in. Actually, wind knocked it down a little bit. So a loud first out.
That's a no-doubter yesterday. Might have gotten in on him just a little bit here. He quite barreled that one up, but still hit it pretty good. Another day, he's jogging around the bases. The eyes were hopeful.
Here's Rizzo. 341 against lefties. Would be the third best single season left on left Cubs batting average since 1974. Bill Buckner in 78, Mark Grace 93, the better batting average against lefties from the left side of the plate.
Yeah, I was going to guess Mark Grace. He hung in there very well. I have a couple of bruises that will attest to that. Don't have them anymore. Didn't hit me that hard.
Ego bruises maybe. Yeah. Lingered.
I mentioned in our Mercedes keys to the game that the running game might be an option here. Chuch Ruiz has thrown out just 5 of 41 base stealers.
Ground ball to second. And they're going to get only one. Rizzo safe at first.
Hernandez had a little bit of an issue getting that ball out of his glove, and that killed any chance of the double play.
And here comes Joe.
I wonder if he's thinking about the neighborhood play again.
At the very least, he's going to ask Phil Cuzzy about it.
Yeah, there was one in Cincinnati the other day where the flip came from the shortstop to the second baseman, who was on the outfield side of second base and never quite got to the base.
Yeah, he was not on the bag.
But this play here is my understanding of what the neighborhood play is supposed to be. But I think there's a lot of confusion around the game. He's clearly off the base by the time he catches the ball. But he's on the base in position to receive the throw.
And based on the rules check the other night, JD, it comes down to the throw. If they believe it was a true throw, which means it did not pull Galvis off the bag fundamentally that it is the neighborhood play.
Yeah, and I don't know that this isn't just a little gamesmanship from Joe. Maybe realizing he's not going to get any kind of an appeal here or an explanation, but maybe just to
plant the seed.
Well, or just to kind of upset Cole Hamels' rhythm a little bit here.
Okay. Pitch to Soler is hit foul, just foul, past third.
Three-hit game for Soler yesterday. Be good to see him get on a little bit of a roll and provide some damage, some extra base hits.
Runner goes, the throw to second. Safe. Rizzo got in. Number 14.
It's always good when they follow the script. And you see Hamels, altering his delivery, trying to be quick to home plate. That time a more conventional leg lift, so Rizzo picked the right pitch. It was a little bit short. Rizzo in ahead of the tag.
So Rizzo in scoring position. And it just missed. 2 balls and a strike.
Most of these hitters don't have much of a book on Hamels. He's not pitched against the Cubs in a couple of years. He's not pitched in this ballpark since 2010.
From San Diego, first round pick, 2002. The big playoffs in 08. Three-time All-Star. Joe Madden will remember Cole Hamels. Probably not in a positive fashion because he was the World Series MVP in 08 for the Phillies against the Rays. Swing and a miss.
Yeah, that's the money pitch. The changeup has always been one of the best in the game. And if you're a right-handed slugger and you're up there in a fastball count, there's no guarantee you're going to get one. As a matter of fact, you're more likely to get the changeup.
Comes his 3-2. Swing and a miss on the change to end the inning. Rizzo stranded at second after 1, 0-0.
So don't forget to take a look at the Cubs blog on abc7.com, brought to you by Jeff Vukovich, your local nationwide agent, serving the area for 37 years. To join the nation, contact Jeff at jeffvuk.com. Nationwide is on your side.
Veteran catcher Carlos Ruiz. Fastball strike from Arrieta. David Ross in there again today. We'll see Kyle Schwarber in the lineup tomorrow. Foul back. 1-2. Ruiz sharing time with Cameron Rupp.
He's had a heck of a career. Appears to be nearing the end of the line. His number's way down. I think he's got one more year on his deal.
Close, didn't get it. Yeah, he is signed through 2016 with a club option for the following year. A lot of mileage on those knees. All-Star in 2012. This is his 998th career game.
Ruben Amaro Jr. taking a lot of heat. He's the general manager, taking a lot of heat in Philadelphia these days. Hey, check out that guy.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty fancy stuff. But the one thing you cannot accuse Ruben of is being unloyal or disloyal. He really took care of his guys, the veteran core that did so many good things there in Philadelphia. They all got long-term deals, all got extensions. The Phillies are shackled with some of those contracts.
They're looking at their fourth straight non-winning season after 5 consecutive National League East titles.
It's funny, we got so used to seeing this club in the postseason, and you know, Utley and Howard and Ruiz, Hamels, so many of those guys were star players, and plus we only see them twice a year, series here, series there.
All 4 lead-off walk.
It's kind of like watching an actor who was once like an Oscar award big time actor who all of a sudden is getting B-rolls.
Bring up Cody Ashe. Big day yesterday. 2 doubles, 3 RBIs. So go ahead double. Game tying double. Runner at first, nobody out. Castro the only infielder to the left of second. Bryant between Rizzo and Russell.
That's strike 1. Castro retreats. So if Ashe wants a bunt, it's all his.
There is the bunt.
Except for there.
Throw to second for 1, and that's it. Yeah, the out's called as Starlin dropped it on the exchange.
It looks easy, doesn't it? But that whole side of the infield's wide open. You can't fault Ashe for the thought, but the execution was not clean. He bunts it right back to Arrieta, who's aggressive. Gets Ruiz. The veteran catcher with the bad knees at second base.
Back by Galvis.
Check out this run. Last 6 starts, starting with that shutout at Minnesota. He's just been nothing short of dominant, averaging better than 7 innings per start. No long balls, 7 walks, 44 strikeouts in that stretch.
Yeah, so maybe the disclaimer is in the non-Greinke Kershaw category, he's been the best in baseball.
Yeah, well, hard to match up with what those guys have been doing. Opposing hitters batting 125 against him in those 6 ball games.
Foul.
Cub fans, let's go. Summer is here. The Cubs are playing exciting baseball. Don't miss your chance to catch a game here at Wrigley Field. Tickets are still available for the Rockies 3-game series that begins Monday night. To purchase tickets, visit Cubs.com.
Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Second strikeout for Jake. It'll bring up Dominic Brown.
Swing was an afterthought. What happened to this guy?
That's a great question.
Years ago, he was their top prospect, and big things were really expected of him.
Yeah, an all-star in 2013. 27 homers. OPS with .818, but over the last 2 years since, a .234 hitter with an OPS of .619 and just 10 home runs over 177 games.
What's the prevailing theory? Haven't heard anything.
He was really good, and now he's not. I don't know.
He's down in the International League this year.
Yeah, he started on the DL, missed most of April with an Achilles, and went to AAA until mid-June. Phillies called him up. Here he is. Ashe at first, 2 outs. Sharply hit on the ground, right to Rizzo to win the inning. 0-0, an inning and a half in.
ABC 7 is being brought to you by Marvel's Ant-Man. Now playing in theaters in IMAX 3D.
Hey, Virginia Pressey is celebrating her birthday with friends and family. That is Gary Pressey's mom, and Gary wanted us to tell his mom to save him some birthday cake.
Yeah, don't be afraid to send a slice over here to the booth.
Absolutely.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Virginia. She watches every Cubs game. Gary, the fine Wrigley Field organist. Breaking ball strike on Krista Norfia.
If you were basing your lineup decisions on history, Chris Coughlin would probably be in there today.
Yeah, how about that?
He's got very good numbers against this talented left-hander.
Coughlin 9 out of 26. 2 home runs, 346 average. DeNorfia 5 for 20 with 1 home run. Maybe he'll get in there a little later. Called strike 3. Back-to-back Ks for Hamels.
You know, a lot of times too, a manager, when he's putting his lineup together, he's thinking about his lineup against the starting pitcher, but he's also trying to make sure he's covered on his bench too. So he's got options for both sides of the play. He's got pinch hit, options for later in the game, and maybe he just felt like he wanted to have 2 left-handed bats available. 2 straight lefties. He's got the switch hitter Herrera. Also has Schwarber from the left side, Teagarden from the right.
Strike on Castro. 3 for 6. Lifetime against Hamels. But as JD mentioned, it's been a while. Slowly hit to third. Franco's got it. 2 outs. Well, is this Cole Hamels' final start as a Philly? If so, he will have left a pretty good mark on the National League. We don't know if he'll stay in the National League if he gets traded, but he's been really good.
Yeah. Year in and year out, you can count on him for 30+ starts. Done that 7 years in a row. 6 of those 7 years he's pitched 200 innings or more. The exception 2009 when he threw 193.
All 1 on David Ross. 1 for 5 in the opener.
3rd all time in strikeouts for the Phillies.
One. Now, I haven't looked. Do you have the top 2?
Well, Steve Carlton would be 1,
right?
And Robin Roberts
would have been
next up for him. He's 40 away.
The other choice. I actually would have picked Roberts first. Carlton had how many?
It's not listed
it's
here.
Not listed. He had a lot.
He had a lot. Yeah.
3,031 strikeouts as a Philly for Steve Carlton, over 4,100 in his career total. Scoreless after 2.
this 3-game set. First pitch is at 1:20. First 5,000 kids receive a Cubs replica batting helmet presented by Advocate Children's Hospital. After the game, the first 1,000 kids 13 and younger with wristbands will be allowed on the field to run the bases, weather permitting. For more information, visit Cubs.com.
Swinging strike on Cole Hamels. Gets swinging a little bit. 172 lifetime. 1-1. Curveball. 1-2.
There's been some talks and articles written about Hamels in these disastrous 2 starts he's had and whether that's hurt his trade value or not. I can't imagine that it has. Just a couple of bad starts. And if you're an advance or a major league scout and you're coming in to check them before you sign off on a deal, you're basically looking at the stuff. The velocity is where it normally is. Everything else looks good. There's no indication that he's hurting, so let's pull the trigger.
So in this group here, I think right there in the middle, Mike and Alyssa, big Cub fans, we have received inside word that a big question may be asked at some point during this game. Hint,
really?
hint. We don't want to give it away. We don't know if it has been asked. If so,
it looked like they were posing for a photo there.
We hope the answer was yes, and congratulations. If not, we'll just kind of wait and see. But they look like they're enjoying themselves at the ballpark. Swing and a miss. 1-1 on Hernandez. 2 hits yesterday. Bryant in on the grass at third. Missed inside. Cubs are a half game now behind San Francisco for the second wild card spot.
Yeah, the Giants have been a very streaky team. They're on a pretty nice roll again.
They beat the A's 9-2 last night. Hunter Pence had 4 hits. Just underway, bottom 2 today. No score. Bassett and Bumgarner the matchup. Arrieta fans Hernandez. Let's take a look at the updated NL wildcard standings, brought to you by the Bob LaCourcio Auto Group. Pirates beat the Nationals 7-5. Max Scherzer, no decision last night, gave up 5 runs in 5 innings. And a no decision in his first start against Pittsburgh since his no-hitter against them a month ago.
They gave up 3 long balls, including one into the Allegheny at the bat of Pedro Alvarez.
Herrera sends one in the air, and Denorfi is going to have to chase this one down into the corner. Odubel Herrera with a 2-out double.
Arrieta has been so good. You're taken by surprise when somebody drives the ball off of him. Big old leg kick.
Oh, yeah.
By Herrera. He's actually behind this fastball a little bit, but it works out just fine for him. That kick allows him to generate some power, and he drives it into the left field corner for a 2-out double.
Outside, ball 1. I apologize for my voice. I've got the crud, whatever you had there for a while. Feeling better, sounding worse, but you know, maybe I'll get a movie voiceover deal. In a world.
Hey, that's good.
Yeah. It's the upside. Ant-Man, the movie. 2 balls, no strikes.
Can you get a little James Earl Jones down there?
Luke. Nothing here in the 3rd inning.
Doesn't want to give it to Franco here, and that's the Cubs struggling to score runs. Normally, you wouldn't be really defensive in this situation. It's early in the ball game. Phillies don't have a lot of firepower. But Arrieta clearly here not wanting to give in to the youngster. Got a base open.
Walked him.
Well, if you're not feeling well, sometimes it's a good idea just to curl up in bed.
Yeah, we were having fun with this yesterday. My wonderful mom has saved a bunch of sports-related pieces of clothing that I had as a kid. I don't know the size of those Houston Oilers pajamas, but as you can see by the helmet, it was about 1977 or 78. So my dad texted me that picture yesterday.
Good stuff.
I would have preferred the Dallas Cowboys onesie, but ball got away from Ross, and both runners will advance. It's a pass ball on Ross.
Well, let's see. I mean, this thing is launched by Arrieta.
Yeah, that's a tough
play. That's a tough pass ball. I know he got leather on it.
It sounds obvious, but we should say it, that of all the different types of pitches, the fastball is the one most catchers assume is going to be in a zone, right? You're not going to miss by 3 feet. Right. Breaking ball, you may bounce in front of home plate, but you're never expecting a fastball to bounce in front of the plate or to be 5 feet
8
above.
feet high,
yeah, unless you're calling for it in that area. And the reason is it's generally straight. 1-0 to Howard. High fly ball, well hit. Fowler will run out of room. That is a 3-run homer. Ryan Howard with number 351.
Yeah, and it happens a lot, boy. You're careful with one guy, and you have to get after the next guy, and he makes you pay. And Ryan Howard's been doing it for a long time now. We talked about him first time he was up. He's not having a real good year. He's not hitting for average. He's not drawing walks, but he still is a dangerous hitter. This is a breaking ball, and it's not a bad one. It's down. He just stays back as if he were looking for it. He got a curveball last time and grounded out to second base. This time he hits it into the seats. It's your Toyota home run cam, and Cubs are in a hole. And I'm not sure that Arrieta couldn't just overpower Howard with his fastball. And I'm guessing their scouting reports say otherwise. They put a curveball in play last time, as I mentioned, and that's what he hit just now.
Deep to right, trouble here, and that'll drop for Ruiz. It's a double.
It's an elevated fastball that Ruiz hits hard the other way. Well, this Cubs rotation has carried this club much of the year. It would be fitting if the lineup could pick up Arrieta here, who has been so good.
Chris Bosio out to the mound. And all this happening with 2 outs. double, walk, home run. Cubs baseball on ABC 7 is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Check out our exciting model lineup by visiting your local authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer. Visit us today at MBUSA.com. This will end the inning. Ashe grounds out to Russell. 3-run homer. Ryan Howard, 3-0 Phillies.
ABC 7 is being brought to you by the Bob LaCourcio Auto Group. You're going to like buying a car this way.
Hamels against Arrieta. Phillies leading 3-0 on the Ryan Howard home run. Jake with a 3-game hitting streak, including a home run. Look out. That was flying into the stands, but I think everybody's all right. He's locked in. 1-1. It's a strike. July 12th against the White Sox. As he strikes out this time. Number 4 for Hamels. That Arrieta home run was off Jose Quintana, who pitched a shutout, first of his career last night. 6-0 White Sox, a winner at Cleveland.
One of the more underrated pitchers in baseball.
Didn't mean to. And foul up along first. Two. Played inside. Fowler on deck. Cubs still without a hit. Fowler walked in the first. Only base runner allowed so far. Tapper Hamels off the mound. Pretty neat moment before the game. Courtney, Courtney's, and Courtneyia Pope bringing out the rosin bag, and a big surprise. Mom came home. Bernice Pope, U.S. Army Sergeant First Class, and a big ovation. Returning home from a year-long tour in Kuwait and Afghanistan. Headed to Fort Lee, Virginia with her family.
Long and loud ovation, and well-deserved. That was a sweet moment.
Thanks to the USO of Illinois for setting up that magical moment before the game.
All kinds of good stuff going on here. Sean Johnson, the gymnast, got engaged here yesterday before the game.
Yeah.
After throwing out a first pitch. Walking around on her hands for a while. I don't know that there's a better changeup, in the game. The last 10 years or so, it's been a dominant pitch for Hamels. Especially good because he's got good life on the heater too, so he can go 95 on you and then throw that nasty changeup.
This ball away, 3-1. Way of it, people asking me after seeing my pajamas from when I was 5, why the Houston Oilers. I had all kinds of different teams. There was no rhyme or reason. I just tried to be different. What can I tell you?
Saturday night would be Oiler night.
There you go. 3-0. Okay, enough. Phillies.
ABC 7 is being brought to you by DeVry University. Different purpose.
Elvis tried to bunt. He missed it. 3-0 on one swing. Ryan Howard home run.
Galvis, a strikeout victim last time, was really late on a fastball as he was right there. It doesn't look like he's seeing it very well out of Arrieta's hand here this afternoon.
Jake's 0-2. In the dirt. Mention this off the top, 17 in a row coming out of the break against sub 500 teams, but the Cubs just 4-4. As Castro will take care of Galvis. And repeating the John Lester quote from after yesterday's game, you have to have that invisible opponent mentality of where they are in the standings. He went on to talk about their big leaguers too.
Yeah, and I think, there's a lot of, we tend to evaluate clubs, based on what has happened, obviously. And there's this mindset of teams play up to the competition or down to the competition. I'm not sure I buy that. I'm more, like you mentioned earlier, they're catching the Phillies in a pretty good stretch right now. Even bad teams are going to go on a nice run for 10 days or so, and really good teams are going to go into funk and drop 8 out of 10. I'm more in that school than teams being flat because they're not playing a first place club.
One and one to Brown.
Especially when you're playing here in this ballpark that's just jam packed.
Yeah, Joe has really pounded home the idea of play every game, really starting in spring training. He wants everybody's heart rate to be the same March 15th as it is June 15th as it is October 15th. He believes you get the most out of yourself if you act that way as a big leaguer, as that ball will get past Castro and into left. It's not like you, quote, get up for the big games.
Right, right. That's what I mean. I think that those are things that people say after the fact.
Right. Well, when you hear the big game pitcher thing, then my response is, well, wait a minute. So against a lesser opponent, he doesn't try as hard?
Exactly.
Come on. The bunt by Hamels, who wants it. Ross. It goes 2-4.
For me, I don't think I don't buy into the big game pitcher as much as I do the big time pitcher who's really good against the best lineups because he's really talented. So that guy's probably going to shine in the postseason.
At second, that's Brown, 2 outs. Hernandez 0 for 2. Swing and a miss. Good questions on Twitter today. Kip writes in, and we've addressed this before. Guy grounds out to Bryant, shift is on. He's playing on the right side. Do you score at 5-3 or 4-3? I mentioned Pat Hughes. If it's a grounder to second, regardless of who fields it, he puts 4-3 in his book. I put 5-3 and then 4 in parentheses. So there's no one way to do it. But it has challenged us.
To be statistically accurate, you have to assign it to the player who made the play because it's an assist for him. But if
point is he hit it to second.
Yeah, if you're scoring a game and you're not announcing a game and you want to see where the guy hit the ball last time up, you have to make some kind of a notation to indicate that.
Foul tip, 1-2. Played in.
Hernandez, pretty keen eye. He'll take his walks. High on base percentage. Just a tick under 360. well suited for the leadoff role with that combination of discipline and speed.
Swing and a miss to end the inning. Cubs looking for their first hit as we go to the bottom of the fourth.
Be Peter Pan for the rest of my life, and I want these guys to be the same thing. So if you want to take it too seriously, and it's not life and death, this is fun and games, it really is. And when you start taking it in the wrong direction, then you could lose sight of that, and eventually success will go away. It's hard to be good over an extended period of time if you don't approach the day properly. So all these things are, I feel, coming together.
Good stuff from Joe, and you don't hear a lot of managers say that. This is supposed to be fun.
Well, yeah, and not only does he say it, but he kind of behaves that way too. There's some guys, I see managers screaming at guys in the clubhouse, in a post-game rant, and one of the things they're screaming is, "We got to loosen up and have fun." While the veins are bulging out of his neck and the clubhouse spread is lying all over the floor.
Time 0-2 on Bryant. Almost has retired everybody since walking Fowler in the first inning. And he gets Bryant. 11 batters in. He's got 5 strikeouts.
It's like he's decided if this is going to be his last start with the Phillies, he's going to make it a good one. He's locked in here today. Cubs got a lot of heavy lifting to do to get back in this one against Hamels.
The run support from his first baseman, Howard, on the 3-run homer. Swing and a miss. Hamels has not won in his last 9 starts. His last victory came in Washington on May the 23rd. So it's been 2 months.
A John Lester-like run. There's been a lot of good starts in there in between, but no wins. Run support has been minimal.
Just 1 start in there. That was on the 19th of June. Wild right hamstring strain. 1-2 on Rizzo.
Filing the reports.
Yep. Scout Central. This is 1-2. Soft liner. Brown will make the belt high grab. Watch Chicago's #1 news, ABC 7 Eyewitness News, weeknights at 10 with Ron Majors, Kathy Brock, Cheryl Burton, Jerry Taft, and Mark Giangreco. Jerry will join us coming up. So Lair struck out swinging in the first inning. 3 hits on Friday. It's his bobblehead day. He missed a change at 87.
Well, he's going to see a lot of those until he's able to stay off of it. That's how he struck out first time up. He was in a favorable count, 3-1, and Hamels went back-to-back changeups on him. Got swings and misses on both of them.
Kyle tweeting, should the Cubs trade for Hamels mid-game? Well, they could, but he can't pitch for them in this game. That might be a first. Bad guys traded between games of a doubleheader or in the middle of a series. You know, the dugout to dugout trade. Can't call time and go, Cole, could you put on a Cubs uniform right now? No, can't do that.
I guess you could, if you're seriously negotiating a deal, you could tell the Phillies, look, we want to do this deal. Here's who we're going to give you, but you got to get him out of the game right now. We don't want him to get hurt.
Yeah, this is a kind of a tricky time of the year. Remember, Jason Hamill, no S, last year in Washington, D.C. got pulled from a game after about, what, 6 innings, maybe 90 pitches, and he was saying, what in the world is going on here? Well, they had done the deal with the A's. So it does happen. Over the head windup, 3-2, swing and a miss, change up, inning over. Hamels no hitting the Cubs through 4, 3-0 Phillies. And hospital administrators join the Cubs Tuesday, September the 1st for their annual Healthcare Professionals Night. Purchase your tickets through the Cubs special events page, and each participant will get a special Cubs scrub top Visit Cubs.com/special events. Odubel Herrera. Nice play. Rizzo from his knees. He got him at first. 3-1 on the putout.
Well, a lot of things can go wrong on a play like that, but everything went right for the Cubs, starting with the glove work by the big fella. Their Volkswagen defensive play of the game. Snares it, gets into a throwing position, and a quick snap throw over to Arrieta covering the bag.
So 1 pitch, 1 out. Here's Franco, who's doubled, walked, and scored. Strike call. Oh, 0-2.
Mets added a couple players trying to bolster their offense yesterday. Kelly Johnson, Juan Uribe from the Braves are now Mets.
Johnson hitting cleanup, playing second. It's the Dodgers. They have not yet started. Zach Lee and Matt Harvey scheduled pitchers in that one. Arrieta's 1-2. Line shot left center, and that ball will get to the wall, and it'll stick, and now out of the ivy, and it's a double. Had it stayed in the ivy, it would have been a double anyway.
All right, let me ask you this.
Okay.
How long does it have to stick in the ivy before it becomes a dead ball? As soon as the umpire rules it such? I mean, because this one hung in there a little bit.
Yeah.
And
I think once the umpire, when the umpire points or calls time, I think that's.
Yeah. So if you're an outfielder, put your hands up, but pursue the ball just in case.
That is a ground rule here, so if it does get stuck in the ivy, and the outfielder does not reach in to get it, it is a double. Howard with the opposite field 3-run homer in the third. Only runs to date.
And a curveball down and then lifted it into the seats out there in left center, about 375 feet. Bosio was really thrilled with the approach here to Howard.
Well, we showed you Jake Arrieta homering off Jose Quintana earlier. And had another good question on Twitter. Which active pitcher has allowed the most home runs to pitchers? Wandy Rodriguez has given up 5 home runs to pitchers, according to stats. A bunch of guys tied for second with 4 allowed.
Wouldn't be surprised to find out that Zambrano had a couple of those off of Wandy.
Yeah, it's a good call. Three and 0. Z got him once. Howard takes a walk.
So apparently the conversation was more along the lines of, let's go ahead and be careful, pitch around him with the base open. See if you can get the ground ball from Ruiz and get 2.
Ruiz has walked and doubled. Strike one. Detroit leading the Red Sox 4-0 at Fenway. They're in the fifth. Boston snapped an 8-game skid with an 11-inning 2-1 victory last night.
Alfredo Simon for the Tigers today. Stephen Wright for the Red Sox.
You know what he did before the game? He bought powdered water, but he didn't know what to add.
I was going to say he's got a very deadpan delivery. He's a knuckleballer is what he is.
Yes, he is. On the hands and fouled out of play. Huge late Saturday afternoon crowd here at Wrigley Field. Sun shining, hot temperatures, wind blowing in off the lake. One and two.
I expect another full house here tomorrow. Jason Hamill will pitch for the Cubs. Aaron Nola, the rookie, for the Phillies.
This should be a fun one. Our first look at one of the top pitching prospects in the game, Aaron Nola and Jason Hamill, putting together another fine campaign. 1 o'clock for the airtime here on ABC 7.
Unless the Cubs can get something done against Cole Hamels here, they'd be looking at possibly being swept by the Phillies. The Phillies have won only one series on the road this year.
He got him. No argument from Ruiz.
Fifth strikeout for Jake here this afternoon. Top of the zone, outside corner for strike three.
Now Ashe began the year as a third baseman. Mid-May went to AAA to learn left field. Franco took over for the Phillies at third. A couple of weeks later, Ashe came back and became their left fielder. Speaking of pitchers hitting home runs, Madison Bumgarner has hit the 9th of his career. A's and Giants are tied at 1 as they go to the 5th. Line to Rizzo, and that'll end the inning. Phillies leave a couple. They lead the Cubs in the 5th, 3-0.
First alert weather forecast from me, Chief Meteorologist Jerry Taft, and meteorologist Cheryl Scott, only on ABC 7 Eyewitness News.
There he is, everybody. Jerry Taft, good to see you, sir.
It's great to be here. Great to be here. I noticed the elevator's out of order.
It is, yes. We're under construction, Jerry.
You know, by the time I got here, I was going like this. It's like a crow's nest getting out here. Beautiful day at the ballpark. You know, I noticed driving in from the southwest suburbs, anybody that owns a car took it out of the garage today and said, hey, let's go for a ride.
Yep.
Because the Stevenson was backed up, the Eisenhower was backed up. Everybody's out enjoying the weather. Finally, we've had a pretty decent week.
People heading to the lake, right?
Yeah. At least you get a nice breeze up here, huh?
It feels good. Usually when it's this warm, here right along the lake, the wind is blowing in the other direction. Cubs need a hit. They don't have one off Cole Hamels. Well, Jerry, big fan, and enjoy your work.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
It may even get a little hotter here the next few days, it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, today, actually, once you get away from the lake, it's in the low 90s inland right now. Come on, guys, we need some production.
I know. All right, Jerry, we got to have a little fun here. Can we roll the tape?
Lots to think about, sir.
Jerry?
That was the entire weathercast that I laughed the whole way. Occasional showers and thunderstorms. Around midnight, a couple of storms coming through and a couple of wind southeast, 8 miles.
Giangreco, right?
Yeah,
Usually off camera.
Well, he sits directly behind my camera. So every time that I look at the camera, I look at Mark's face, and you could imagine over the years, I mean, he and I, and you know, we've worked for almost 30 years, a little more than 30 years together, along with Ron, Linda, you.
Yep.
I mean,
so everybody knows how to push each other's buttons.
Oh, jeez. Doing it a lot.
There's nothing more difficult when you just can't keep it together. No, you got to keep it together for the next 3 minutes.
Well, I was good when I looked sideways. I was fine, but when I had to turn to look at the camera and he was still there, it was like Katie barred the door.
Oh, good stuff.
I know she had Deborah Norville out here a few weeks ago.
It was the 2-1.
Yeah, she used to work with us too.
Look at that. The cup.
Yeah. Is it wrong?
Are those earrings?
3-1 on Castro. Cole Hamels has been dealing. Swing and a miss. 3-2. You've been hitting the links?
Yeah, quite a bit. Quite a bit. I mean, that's the best thing about working a job that starts at 2:30 or 3 in the afternoon during the summer, spring, fall. And it used to be the winter too, not anymore. But you know, we used to have those cart covers and heaters in there. I don't do that anymore.
You know, you don't play winter golf?
No. 50 degrees is my cutoff now.
There you go. And and a pilot too.
Yeah, well, I was in the Air Force 14 years before coming here to Chicago, so it was kind of a long way around to get here. Yep.
3-2 on Castro.
Do you have any occasion? Have you kept active with the flying? Do you still fly?
Not really. You know, when I first got here, I flew a lot. I used to fly the Air Water Show.
Mm-hmm.
I had a Kristen Eagle, and before that I had a Pitts S2B doing aerobatics and stuff like that. But in the early 90s, I finally realized, you know, I haven't busted my butt yet. Maybe it's time to quit, because in the Air Force you have a mission. You know, you go to work and they tell you what to do. Here it's, you know, go to Lake Wan for a hot dog, go to Bloomington for a hamburger, go to Clough for breakfast. So there's no real mission.
It was Ross with 2 outs. Hustled into short center, and it's going to hold up. Caught by Herrera. Cubs being no hit through 5 by Cole Hamels. Jerry, thanks. Appreciate you stopping by here.
Oh, it's been fun.
Watch
Great
you every
day at the
night.
ballpark. It's amazing. Look at all the people here. They did a great job with this ballpark.
They really did.
Baseball on ABC 7 is brought to you by Sport Clips. It's good to be a guy.
Phillies lead 3-0. Jake Arrieta just trying to hang in there. Cole Hamels has been brilliant. This is Freddie Galvis. So Jimmy Rollins was their opening day starter every year between 2001 2014. Galvis this year, the guy before Jimmy Rollins, Desi Relaford, 2000. Swing and a miss. Galvis thought he got a piece of it apparently, and he didn't. It's a strikeout. Number 6 now for Arrieta.
Yeah, similar for Galvis in Philadelphia as to Didi Gregorius in New York, replacing Derek Jeter. Maybe not to that level, but a similar thing. An iconic player for a long time was Jimmy Rollins in Philly.
Yep. Here's Brown.
Phillies finished first place in the NL East every year between 2007 and 11. The 3 years prior to that, they were second place finishers. You could draw some parallels between the Phillies as they were emerging and becoming a championship club and what's going on here in Chicago with a young core of players.
Well, actually, look at kind of the profile of the offense. It's similar to what the Phillies had, right? Home run hitters who worked the count. Pat Burrell, Ryan Howard, Chase Utley.
Rollins was such a dynamic two-way player for them. Outstanding defensively and heck of a hitter too. Won an MVP, did Rollins.
Cut and a miss, strike 3. Back Back-to-back for Arrieta. Third plate appearance for Hamels. '95. Arrieta pretty consistent today. We've seen him hit 96, even 97 on his fastball. Should we call this one the Battle of the Beards? Hamels and Arrieta?
Yeah, why not?
He strikes out the side. Cubs will bat in the bottom of the 6th, trailing 3-zip.
Nothing. Cubs to bat in the bottom of the 6th. Don't forget to check out the Cubs blog on abc7.com, brought to you by Jeff Vukovich, your local nationwide agent, serving the area for 37 years. To join the nation, contact Jeff at jeffvuk.com. Nationwide is on your side.
So call Hamels. 3 plate appearances in. Jake Arrieta ended up getting just 1. That usually tells the tale, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's always a pretty good indicator of who's having the better day.
Jonathan Herrera will hit for Jake, who did qualify for a quality start. Bare minimum is 3 runs, 6 innings. I wouldn't say bare minimum. I'll say the minimum. Don't want to minimize a quality start, even though some people try to. Travis Wood will likely get the 7th.
Arrieta finished strong, punching out the side in the top half of the inning. And not to be a Jake apologist, but if Howard pops up that curveball instead of hitting it into the seats, we've got a scoreless ball game. He did not have his A game here today. Walked 3, but still a solid performance for Arrieta.
A special 7th inning stretch today. Hint, hint, it is Hall of Fame weekend. Talk more about this year's inductees tomorrow. Get your thoughts on a guy you played with and followed very closely in Houston, Craig Biggio. Bounced foul. Pretty good class, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Pedro and Smoltz and big unit. Biggio. I think I know the answer, but I'll ask it anyway. I'll ask two questions.
All right.
Will Bagwell get in, and should he?
Oh boy, great question. I think ultimately yes on both counts.
Yeah, the second one is yes for me, and I hope he gets in. Too bad they couldn't have gone in together.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
that's the way it goes.
Like Batman and Robin down there side by side for so many years.
3-2 on the pinch hitter. Swing and a miss, strike three. Man, oh man.
Herrera had a lengthy at bat, but ultimately another win for Hamels. This time going way up out of the zone, and he gets the chase from Herrera.
He walked Fowler to start the bottom of the first and has sent down 16 in a row since. Ball one to Russell.
You know, it's funny, and he's been upstairs with a number of his pitches today. I'm sure some of them by design, but it looks to me like it's hard to find fault with a guy who's throwing a no-hitter, just in terms of his delivery. It looks like he's breaking down that backside more than he used to. I haven't seen him pitch in a couple of years, but when I visualized Cole Hamels, he's a little taller on his leg and driving the ball down. It looks like there's a little more break in that back knee than I used to see. And could be wrong. It's just my perception. Stuff is still very good, obviously, and today it's been unhittable so far.
Curveball. Well, he came in with an ERA his last two starts of over 19.
Yeah, if that scared away anybody from making a deal, he's erased those doubts.
Now 0 for 17 against Hamels today. He's got 8 strikeouts. Pitch. 2-0. Hamels combined on a no-hitter on September 1st of last year. Diekman, Giles, Papelbon, he went 6. 2 previous Phillies no-nos by Roy Halladay. One was in the playoffs, 2010. Where they also pitched a perfect game that year, May the 29th. Fowler has been the only Cub to reach twice on walks.
Fowler, one of the few Cubs with more than a few looks at Cole Hamels. He had not had a lot of success. Extra just 4 out of 21 against him coming into this game. Ryan Howard has proven how impactful one swing of the bat could be. Chris Bryant just missed one his first time up. Here's another chance with a man on for him.
Ball one. League leaders brought to you by DeVry University. Really good standing there for Chris Bryant. He is one of 4 players with 50 runs, RBIs, and walks. Harper, Goldschmidt, Bautista, the other 3 in that group.
That'll help build the case for Chris Bryant as Rookie of the Year.
Runner goes. Fowler, throw to second is not in time. It's his 19th stolen base.
First move, high leg kick. We talked about Ruiz throwing problems earlier in the game. He's got 5 out of 43 now.
One bounced foul. One of the more interesting no-hitters ever pitched, as you see that list of at least 50 RBIs, runs, and walks. Chris Bryant a part of that group. Rick Wise for the Phillies, June 23rd, 1971.
The Owl Man.
Pitched a no-hitter and hit 2 home runs.
Yeah. Kind of like the best day ever.
Swing and a miss. Hamels with a no-no through 6, cruising along, leading 3-0. Jake Arrieta and Cole Hamels, 2 very accomplished National League starters. One mistake. Ryan Howard takes the Arrieta curveball up and out. Cole Hamels, meanwhile, absolutely dealing. High fastballs, good changeups.
Yeah, it slows you down with a changeup, and that beats you with an elevated fastball. That's a deadly combination.
ESPN 1000 game summary. Here's Travis Wood.
Top of the order here for the Phils.
Mentioned the combined no-hitter for Hamels on Labor Day last year in Atlanta. A 7-0 win. He went 6 innings, but he made 108 pitches. So there was really no chance for him to finish that game. Today, very different. 85 pitches through 6. Hit in the air by Hernandez out in the left center to Norfia.
Travis Wood, a fly ball pitcher, not a bad day to be a fly ball pitcher at Wrigley Field. Not a bad year to be a fly ball pitcher at Wrigley Field. Wind's been blowing in way more often than out.
To know on Herrera. Well, our buddy on Twitter, the at Cubs no hit streak Twitter handle. A little nervous. Yeah, a little nervous. Just tweeted, I can't feel my legs. Foul back. Cubs have not been no hit in the last 7,920 games. Big league record. Back to 1965, Sandy Koufax was perfect against them in LA. A remarkable streak. Denorfia again. 2 outs.
On Friday, September 11th, the Zach Brown Band is coming back to Wrigley Field for their Jekyll and Hyde tour. Tickets are on sale now at Cubs.com/Zach Brown Band. Don't miss your chance to see this 3-time Grammy award-winning band right here at Wrigley Field.
2 outs. Here's Franco. Got a question from Brian. Wants to know about Rizzo's fielder's choice. Does that not count as a base runner? And how does it affect OBP? Yeah, it was a fielder's choice by Rizzo in the first inning. That's considered an out. Does not help your on base percentage. So when I said Fowler is the only guy to reach, Rizzo got on, but it was a fielder's choice. So essentially he just replaces Fowler. Three balls, no strikes. At the Mercedes-Benz 7th inning stretch coming up. And for the second time this year, it's going to be on the big board and left. Oof.
Well,
that is as green a light as you can get on 3-0, isn't it?
He did not tap the brakes. He put the pedal to the metal, and yeah, you're going to swing on 3-0. You better swing big. You don't want a check swing.
Walked him. I have to believe in the early days of this game, with a runner at first and a ground ball to short, the 6-4 fielder's choice that we call it today, I bet they originally gave the batter a hit. And then somebody probably said, no, wait a minute, but they made an out at second. And, oh, yeah, let's figure this out, right?
I don't know. That's a great question. That's a good point.
I'm guessing he had to have played the game a little bit to figure out
who deserved what.
Who deserved what? Yeah.
The sacrifice flies weren't always part of the game.
Towering fly ball. Soler and Fowler on the warning track. Fowler's got it with the wind blowing in. And time now for the Mercedes-Benz 7th inning stretch.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to the outfield video boards. Today we look back to April 8th, 2005. In honor of Hall of Fame weekend, please sing along with Cubs Hall of Famers Ernie Banks, Ryne Sandberg, Ron Santo, and Billy Williams.
Pretty cool on the big board and left. 4 Cub Hall of Famers from 10 years ago conducting the stretch. Back to work is Cole Hamels, and a strike on the inside corner on Anthony Rizzo. Cubs without a hit through the first 6. Trailing in this game 3-0. Ryan Howard would have 2 home runs if the wind weren't blowing in. Gave that one a ride, didn't he, to win the 7th?
Yeah, it's scary. Whenever he gets into one with that kind of trajectory, you're worried about it flying out. Rizzo's been really good in this situation, leading off an inning. In fact, I looked about a week or so ago. He had the best on-base percentage in baseball in this situation.
So that ball hit Rizzo. I don't know if he fouled it off himself or if he just swung and missed, which he has done in the past. And that ball.
Yeah, I think that was foul ball.
Him. Okay. He's got a piece of it. Ooh, look at that. Maybe on the Achilles or the calf. Crazy. 2-2.
The next home run that Hamels allows to a left-handed batter will be the first home run that he's allowed to a left-handed batter this year.
What's that now?
The next home run. Okay. The left-handed batter hits off Cole Hamels will be the first.
Okay. So he hasn't given up any yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just an awkward way to say he hasn't given up any yet. It was to add drama and gravitas to the fact that he is not allowed a home run to a left-handed batter.
Swing and a miss. Now the other thing too, it's only natural, I think, when you're being no hit when you get into the late innings to get a little bit into swing mode.
Yes, you're thinking about I got to get a hit as opposed to I got to get on base, and that's what you have to fight against. Looking back over my scorecard, I'm having a hard time finding even a sharply hit ball that somebody had to make a heck of a play on.
Yeah, there have been some lineouts, but hit right at the right fielder mostly.
Yeah,
Rizzo, Denorfia, Castro all lined to.
But not a rocket.
Right.
Or anything anybody had to run a long way to go get. A little flare off the bat of David Ross into shallow center, the closest they've come.
Well, I recall our conversation off the air with Lee Mazzilli in New York last year. Said he was never more nervous as a defensive player than during a no-hitter. More so than even in the postseason. Called strike. 2-2.
Yeah, I think in the postseason you're just playing the game, and then you get into a situation like this where he doesn't really need a whole lot of help. I think the focus starts to shift more on the pitcher than the game.
Change up, strike 3. 11 strikeouts.
Soler down for the 3rd time, and he snaps his bat in frustration.
Well, you said it, and you are not a hyperbolic analyst. You said maybe the best in the game, changeup.
Yeah,
that's high praise.
Over the years, I'm trying to, just the way he uses it, he throws it a high percentage of the time.
Yeah, I can argue with you. Not today. Strike to Denorfia. Argument by Chris. Right on the edge. Swing and a miss. Hamels strikes out the side. 6 punch outs the last 2 innings. No hitting the Cubs through 7.
'87 has been brought to you by Xfinity, your home for the most live sports.
41,683 in the ballpark today. And they have watched a pretty dominating performance through 7 by Cole Hamels. Cubs trailing 3-0. James Russell against Carlos Ruiz. Back up the middle. Addison Russell out at first. Good stretch by Rizzo.
A whole lot of good going on there. It was kind of a changeup off the bat of Ruiz. Didn't have a lot going on, but great concentration by Russell as Castro passes in front. Snares it. We got a slow guy going down the line, and actually James got a little piece of that one. Pretty impressive range.
Hey, we want to congratulate our colleague Dick Enberg, the winner of the Ford C. Frick Award. Broadcaster's honor in Cooperstown this weekend. Oh my. Current voice of the Padres. One and 2 to Ashe.
Chatting with Bob Vorwald on the way out yesterday. We were handicapping the Hall of Fame speeches tomorrow. And we both agree that Pedro would probably be a pre-induction #1 ranking.
Yep. So congrats to Tom Gage, longtime Detroit baseball beat writer, the winner of this year's J.G. Taylor Spink Award. Smoltz will be pretty good.
Yeah, I suspect they'll all be good. I'm just guessing Pedro, there's going to be some funny stuff coming out.
Hit hard and past a diving Castro. What was the line? Did he say the Yankees are my daddy at one point?
That's right, yes.
You know, that came back a few times toward the end of his career. Yeah. Neil Ramirez is up. So when Pedro was at his best, was it the best stretch ever, considering the era?
Some argue. I mean, I haven't broken it all down, and he's doing all that work in the American League. And
you ready? 97 to 03. Think about the hitters era.
Mm-hmm.
Pitching with Montreal in 97, and then with the Red Sox. So American League East for most of it. 118 and 36 with a 220. 199 starts. 34 complete games. Too hard to top. His ERA plus 213, so he was basically over 2 times better than the league average pitcher for what, 7 years.
Maddox had a similar run, not as extended. Koufax, of course, had his great run. It's tough to compare errors, and that's what ERA plus helps you do. People will argue that modern game guys don't pitch complete games as much, and that'd be a little bit of a check mark against them.
Well, he had 13 in 97.
Yeah. But go back and look at what
Oh yeah, of course.
Seaver, Jenkins, that group. But relative to what everybody else was doing.
In 2000, he had a 174. That's insane. Shallow right, tough play. Good effort by Russell, can't get it. On the play, Ashe will head to third. Bad throw into left. Ashe will score. Galvis will score. Oh man, 5-0.
It's just an unbelievable effort here by Addison Russell. He goes airborne, actually hits the heel of his glove. What a catch that would have been, but couldn't secure it, and then the wheels kind of came off. Anthony gets on it, not sure exactly where to go with that ball, and just misfires.
So a little bloop double turned into basically a 2-run Little League home run. Galvis saying, I have no idea how that transpired. High fly to deep right. Soler back on the warning track. That ball had hang time, and he's able to get underneath and make the grab. There's Hamels for the 4th time. I think Pete McCannon said don't swing.
Probably told him don't feel obligated to try to get on here.
Either that or McCannon avoided him completely. Center. And he'll trot into second with a double.
He's having a pretty nice day. It's the understatement of the year.
Here's Hernandez. 0 for 4. And a base hit. Hamels will not score. He's going at about 35-40%, as you can imagine. Here's Herrera. Northia makes the catch and the inning is over. If they get a couple of runs, Hamels back to work. Bottom 8, 5-0. Hamels seems to be getting stronger as this game has moved along. He has struck out 6 the last 2 innings. I mentioned he combined on one last year, September 1st. Roy Halladay with a perfect game back in 2010. Also did it in the postseason that year. So they've had a fair amount here these last 25 years.
Really feeling it now. The strikeout pitch has been, well, it's been 2 things: the elevated fastball and the changeup. He's mixed in some good curveballs as well. 6 outs away from making a little history.
It has been 43 years since there has been a no-hitter in this ballpark. It was Milt Pappas, September 2nd, 1972. Here's Castro.
Been 7 no-hitters here. 5 by the Cubs, 2 by visitors. They've both been Cincinnati Reds. Fred Toney, the famous double no-hitter with Hippo Vaughn back in 1917, and then Jim Maloney in in 1965.
It was a 10 inning, right? Castro swings and misses.
Bert Hooton also threw no-hitter here April of '72. And I believe it was Bert's 4th or 5th major league start.
One. Shank foul.
Castro and Fowler are the only two that have not struck out against Hamels.
There's motion, the 1-2 in the air. Right field, it's Dominic Brown. If you just joined us, Cubs without a hit. We're in the 8th. 2 base runners. Fowler a walk in the 1st, another one in the 6th. Rizzo and Fowler with stolen bases. Only 2 guys to reach 2nd. David Ross. Ball 1. Well, more importantly, the Cubs are down 5-0 after a 5-3 loss yesterday. And yeah, you want to hit, but it's just to get something going here. Anything.
Yeah, today makes you regret yesterday even more. The Phillies scored 1 in the 9th to tie, 2 in the 10th to ultimately win.
In there, 1-2. Ball crushed out into very deep left center, and it's caught on the warning track. Herrera. 2 down. David Ross almost hit a home run.
Ross, who has not gone deep yet this year, puts a pretty good charge into this one. Herrera did not leave his feet to make the catch. He just lost his footing after the catch. He went a long way to get it.
See the overhang of the basket. He probably missed a homer by 3 or 4 feet. Kyle Schwarber announced.
And was reacting like he expected that to happen. Like, off the bat, he felt like it would stay in the ballpark. No emphatic fist pump, nothing to indicate any emotion. Just as steady as she goes.
Well, not an easy at bat for a left-handed hitter against Cole Hamels, but Schwarber hasn't been intimidated by anybody, has he? No bat with 2 outs, nobody on in the 8th inning. Ball strike. Chris Heston, June 9th. With the Giants, he no-hit the Mets. Max Scherzer, June 20th. And out away from a perfect game, he no-hit the Pirates. 0-2. Pitch number 112. Comebacker Hamels makes a play. He's going to take a no-no into the ninth. But first, the Phillies will bat in the top of the ninth. It's 5-0.
Baseball on ABC7 has been brought to you by Toyota. See where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealer. Toyota. Let's go places. Well, it's been a four-man relay for the Cubs here this afternoon. Neil Ramirez running the anchor leg in the ninth. 1-0, 352 for 12 appearances for the hard-throwing right-hander.
Kyle Schwarber, after pinch hitting, will stay in and catch.
Jake Arrieta today started, went 6 innings, allowed 6 hits, 3 runs, struck out 8, walked 3. Travis Wood, 1 scoreless with a walk. James Russell, 4 hits, 2 runs at his 1 inning of work.
So Pete McCann, the interim manager, third time he's been in that position, which is the temporary spot. With probably no more comfortable day, I would think, with that tag than right now. He is going to remain sitting right there. If Hamels needs 190 pitches, he's not taking him out. Right? He's the interim manager.
Yeah, well, but it's interesting, right? Because this is a guy there's been so many trade rumors swirling about.
Well, could you imagine?
And if he's all, it's not going to be an issue, I don't think. But say he had thrown more pitches, earlier in the ball game, was up around 125 before pitching the ninth. That would be interesting.
1-2 on Franco. Cubs have not been no hit in 50 seasons. September the 9th, 1965. So we're about a month and a half away from that 50-year anniversary.
Hamels in the dugout, looks relaxed, chatting it up with his teammates.
Popped him up. And it's Rizzo. Yeah, a pretty incredible streak the Cubs have been on, with at least 1 hit since 1965. Howard with the big blow, 3-run homer in the third. Oh, 2. We're going to keep it here after the Phillies bat. One and 2. Russell, Fowler, Bryant. Fowler's had the best at bats. He's actually only had one official at bat. He's walked twice. They're due on the bottom of the 9th. Ramirez thought it was strike 3. Two pitch. Another ball hit deep by Howard. Soler will watch it bounce out of play. It's a double. Hit the warning track, bounced over the basket. Ryan Howard's had some very good swings in this ball game.
Turning back the clock, isn't he?
Yeah.
Last 4 plate appearances: home run, walk, deep drive. That was run down, and now this double.
Ruiz 1 for 3 with a double and a walk. Ball 1.
I would imagine Cole Hamels is thinking, okay, boys, we got enough. Let's get this inning over with. Let me go back to work.
Bryant will get Ruiz. Hamels, by the way, which this doesn't mean anything, has a Kenny Loggins look working these days, doesn't he?
This is it.
I'm all right. Don't nobody worry about me. There's Ashe. Runner at second, 2 outs, 5-0 Phillies. How I would describe the buzz in the ballpark right now. It's pretty quiet. Very few fans have left. 1-1 hit on the ground. And that'll do it in the Phillies' ninth. With some nervous clapping by the Cubs fans here as we get ready for the bottom of the ninth. And Hamels getting ready to head back out. We're going to keep it right here. You see Russell, Fowler, and Bryant.
Pete Buchanan out chatting with the home plate umpire, probably with some defensive substitutions. Going to put his best team out there in support of Hamels as he pursues a little history here this afternoon. Everybody up on their feet. So yeah, you come to the ballpark on a day like today. If you're a Cub fan, you want to see the home team win. And once you get to this point, you're down 5 runs. Guess watching a guy throw a no-hitter is not a bad consolation prize. So I would imagine there's some mixed feelings among the Cub fans here. Some that are, there's no way do they want to see this no-hitter streak end, see their club no-hit, but other folks, baseball fans that obviously have to respect and appreciate the effort from Cole Hamels here this afternoon.
Looks like Ben Revere is going to play left. So adding some speed to the outfield as he's in for Cody Ashe.
It's kind of ironic. Cole Hamels, his last 2 starts. Here are the pitching lines. 3 1/3. This is 2 starts ago, July 10th at San Francisco. 3 1/3 innings, 12 hits, 9 runs, all earned. Next outing, first one after the break, so somewhat understandable after the long layoff. 3 innings, 8 hits, 5 runs. Today, he has been masterful. And there were those who speculated, well, he pitched poorly because of all the speculation with the trade deadline nearing. Well, this performance here today pretty much throws that argument out the window. And last look around, a deep breath. Larry Boa trying to put everybody in just the right spot.
Here we go. Changeup. Do you like the word I made up, by the way? I was thinking nervous laughter and clapping, and I said clapper.
Yeah. It'd be a snicklet.
That in Merriam-Webster by 2016. 1-1. Off the plate, 2-1. It was a curveball.
Hamels been pretty stingy here today in terms of the number of fastballs he's thrown over the plate, and I would think he's going to work off the plate a lot here, trying to get these Cubs to chase.
3-1.
And he's got a 5-run lead, so he doesn't have to give in if he walks a man or two in pursuit of this no-hitter.
And on the hands, 3-2. Fowler next. Cubs are 0 for 24. With 12 strikeouts, 2 walks. Payoff pitch. Not hit very hard. It'll be cut off by Franco. 1 away.
A lot of nervous energy on that infield. This would be the one guy, if I were Cole Hamels, I'd be most concerned with. Because of the 2 walks today, Fowler has been less inclined to chase as the other Cub hitters.
Big swing by Dexter.
Emptying the tank here.
Strike 2. Got to figure somewhere Roy Halladay has turned on his TV. He threw a couple, including a perfect game for the Phillies in 2010. Bounced foul. It's one thing about technology these days. I'm sure one of his former teammates texted Roy and said, "Hey Doc, I might want to
got it on his Twitter feed.
Stop fishing or whatever it is you're doing and check it out." Called strike 3. Fowler not happy at all with Phil Cuzzy. And Cole Hamels is 1 out away from a no-hitter. Let's see where it was.
A couple borderline inside corner pitches. This one looked like it got a good chunk of home plate.
It'll be up to Chris Bryant. Here's a pitch. Bounce foul. 13 strikeouts, 2 walks. No errors by the Phillies, no hit batters. Everybody standing. Foul tip that time.
The breaking pitch is probably his 3rd best pitch, but it's been a very good offering for him here this afternoon.
Hamels to Bryant. Outside. 2-2. Here it is. 3-2.
Overthrew the changeup. Some things never change, though, do they? Bryant works the count full.
It's time from 1-2 to 3-2.
He'll go changeup or hard in and up with the heater.
Payoff pitch. High fly ball, deep center. Back toward the wall. Is it caught? He caught it. He caught it. It's a no-hitter for Cole Hamels. Herrera made the catch on the warning track, and he's done it.
Wow, what a crazy way for it to end. It looked like it might fly out of here. Herrera in hot pursuit to the wall. Has his feet slip out from underneath him and hangs in there to make the no-hit saving catch. What a performance by Cole Hamels. Possibly his last ever in a Philly uniform.
Herrera with 2 big catches late in this ball game.
He didn't play either one of them particularly well, but he made the catch both times.
Well, he's a former middle infielder. He has not played a ton of outfield in his career. So a nice hand from the Cub fans here at Wrigley Field for Cole Hamels. And he makes history.
Look at Hamels just kind of walking around out there. Like another day at the ballpark.
That is the first time the Cubs have been no-hit in 7,921 games. Their streak of 79-20 comes to an end. First time in almost 50 calendar years they were kept off the hit board. That's the first no-hitter thrown at Wrigley Field since September 2nd, 1972, when the Cubs' Milt Pappas no-hit the San Diego Padres. So history made here at Wrigley Field. We'll take a break and come back. 5-0 Phillies, the final.